Hey guys, this is Joshua Ingalls, and I'm really excited to bring to you Anthony the Professor Moore. Anthony has done over 500 hours of online webinar trainings for people all across the country and the world. He's also done over $130 million in real estate transactions. He's a master of neuro-linguistic programming, all-around great guy. Thanks, Anthony, for being here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So, Anthony, okay, you're at over 130 million in transactions. Let's talk about transaction number uno.
The first one. First one's the scary one, right?
Yeah, because you might be listening and you may not have done a deal yet. Obviously, going from deal one to where you're at now was a long journey. So tell me about the first deal. How did you find it? How did you fund it? What were some of the mistakes you made?
Well, the first deal was in the downturn. So, a lot of foreclosures, things like that were going on. And I actually bought wrong. So overpaid for it on Craigslist. So got online and said, oh, this looks like a deal.
Yeah.
Listened to everything that they said about the property, including resale value, repair costs, all of that. Of course, none of that was accurate. Got it funded through a hard money lender. Use a little bit of savings to put a little bit into it as well. And then frankly, just did all the work myself with my business partner. Absolutely the best time I never want to have again. I mean,
so you were swinging the hammer.
Yeah, did it all.
What did you do, tile?
Oh man, I'm not very handy, which is the irony of the whole thing.
Same as me.
Absolutely, I can't even hang a picture right, it's all crooked. But I do remember the best and worst memory that I have of the whole process was being on the roof, being afraid of heights, and chipping shingles in 95-degree weather.
Oh my gosh.
And not leaving the roof the entire day. So once I'm up, I'm up. I go to the bathroom, well, you're going off the back. And you got to eat. My business partner's bringing me up a sub up the ladder. I mean, it just is what it is. And I remember thinking, boy, is this really what it's like to own your own business? I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah. So obviously, in that scenario, you were definitely a technician, right?
100%. I couldn't be more of a technician, actually.
Okay. So what about deals 2, 3, 4, 5? Were you technicians? Did you kind of learn from your mistakes? How did they go?
Well, I think we learned quickly that there's no way that we could scale what we were doing.
Yeah.
First of all, neither one of us are really enjoying that part of the business. And we said, well, how are we going to make more money than what we're making now? We can only do 2, 3, maybe 4 deals a year max. And it's just not where we had envisioned ourselves going in the process. So it was about that time we said, well, let's find some education. And that's exactly what we did. We got connected with an education company, learned how to do it correctly, how to analyze, market, and get off-market deals. And then once we started implementing it, we just hit the ground running.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Speed of implementation is key. So where were you in your investing business when you decided that, hey, let me learn how to run this like a business versus working in my business?
So we started in 2008. We actually joined with the educational company probably I believe fall of 08.
Okay.
But didn't actually implement it to the following year in 2009. And that's because we were doing the work ourselves and we had to finish those projects.
Sure.
Because we bought them wrong.
Yeah.
So it was so frustrating because you're getting all this good stuff and it's, hey, don't be a technician. Like, but I have to, or you're going to lose this money. So we finished those up as much as we could, outsourced as much as we could, of course, once we learned that. And then started implementing a lot of direct mail.
Yeah.
That's how that's sort of been the backbone of our marketing is direct mail. And we've really focused on refining that through the years versus doing a million different things, which we have.
Yeah.
That's always been our number one lead source, and we're pretty dialed in at this point.
That's awesome. So what were some of the biggest challenges before you implemented? I mean, obviously being on the roof in 95-degree weather, becoming dehydrated was...
That was one.
That was one, okay. What were some of the other challenges you had?
It was the downturn in the real estate market. In our industry, when you're a flipper, you need funds.
Yeah.
Where are you getting that money? Where's it coming from? You go to the bank and they say, oh, okay, well, what industry are you in? Try to get a small business loan. I said, oh, real estate. I said, okay, there's the door. Seriously? Come on. Yeah. So yeah, I was finding the funds more than anything. And we found them, but I mean, it was, you know, hey, going to grandma. It was a little bit from here, a little bit from there. The folks that taught us a good bit of the business, they lent to us as well. So we had just a variety of different private lending sources giving us funds to do onesies and twosies to build up our inventory.
That's awesome. So with the direct mail, like you said, you've been able to dial it in over the years. What are some tips you can, I know you do things a little bit different. I mean, there's a lot of people out there with the, we buy houses fast, and they got a yellow postcard. And, you know, I think especially now today, it's so easy to do that because there's, you know, hundreds of websites you can go to get those templates and blast it out. Super easy to do, right? But
yeah, it is.
Anything that's easy, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think what we're doing is too difficult. You just have to understand the process and the system, which actually developing as we speak. Because I believe in it so much, and I think it's something that's lacking in the industry. To your point, there's a lot of companies that you can go to. You can buy a list of potential sellers, 100% automation. They have the mail piece that is tried and true. It'll be on the special yellow letter and cursive look-alike writing, and I've used those. I bought deals off those. Nothing wrong with it. I just think there's a better way. Our core focus right now is really neighborhood-based. So in our business, we know where we want to buy. These are the 5 core neighborhoods for the rest of my life I'm going to buy in. Right? We know that no matter what. Okay? And I keep expanding that as well. But in those neighborhoods, I want to be the neighborhood resource for the homeowners. If you change your approach from the, hey, we buy ugly houses approach, where all you do is just talk about your benefits, and more of being a resource for a homeowner, whether it's they go with you or somebody else, that has to come across in your letter. You have to be willing to send them to an agent. You know, if they should list the property and they rehabbed it 5 years ago and it's still decent, it's not right for you. It's not right for your business model. The biggest mistake I see is the incongruency, not only with the direct mail piece, but then the follow through with when you actually meet with that seller. Are you really reciprocating everything that you said in that mail piece? Or all of a sudden, I did feel, felt, found in the letter and really connected with them emotionally, but I get there and all I do is talk about how much it's going to cost to repair their property and all of this fear. You just instill all the fear on them. So I'm just trying to switch that model and flip it a little bit.
Well, I like, I've heard you've talked about this before, which is really powerful. It's just like, hey, let's grab a cup of coffee. You're a person, right? You're not some faceless.
You're a human being.
Yeah.
Imagine, you have to imagine it's somebody that you don't know is sending a letter to your grandma.
Yeah.
If you can do that, I want you to write your letters, your mail pieces, and again, you do it once. It'll take you 45 minutes, okay? Find the time, and then you can outsource it from there. Come up with one core letter, which is truly, from the heart, and imagine you're writing it to your grandma. Imagine you're writing it to your grandma. What would you really say? What would you really want somebody to be when they're sitting down with grandma? Okay, that's missing in this industry, big time. Investors have a bad name. We get a bad rap. Okay, sometimes it's just, sometimes it's not. But I think if you, at least with my experience, when they call me up, they literally will tell me, I have 55 other mail pieces, postcards, yellow letters, and I'll tell them in my letter, hey, P.S. I would never insult you by sending you a phony yellow letter that is really not handwritten. Ha 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 ha. All I'm doing, I'm just trying to circumvent, the fact that they received a bunch of these other ones, and hey, I'm a little bit different. I actually do care.
Sure. So. No, that's a great point. Yeah, differentiation, the fact that you do care, the fact that you're genuine in your letter. I think when I heard you talk about it, not only is your messaging on the phone call the same, but your website is also congruent with your marketing too.
It's got to be congruent, right? A lot of the templated websites, they're exactly that. It's something just thrown together, and it has no background on who you are, who your company is, or why your company is. It's just, hey, put your name, email, and a number in, and how quickly you want to sell the property, and somebody will give you a call.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, people are too savvy at this day and age to actually follow through with that consistently. You might get that to work 1 or 2 times,
Yeah.
but that's going to be about it. I mean, you're not going to have consistency in your business and your marketing. It's about that full brand.
Yeah. So tell me about what you're doing today with, I know you're building new construction, and
Yep.
kind of your sweet spot's 1 million to 1.1.
Yeah, give or take. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
And that million to 1.1 is a fairly high price point.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that it's, would knock your socks off. I mean, but it's on the upper scale. Just for, again, that reference point. Our model is insulated. So we pretty much build within 10 to 15 minutes from our center city. And we obviously have our core 5 neighborhoods, as I mentioned, that we are trying to build in all the time. Okay. It's easier too with your direct mail and your marketing if you're always in the neighborhood and they see you over and over and over again. So there's, oh yeah, I got this letter from Anthony at Pike Properties. I know these guys. These are good guys. I've seen they built that house down the street.
Yeah.
Right. So that is a big part of it. Is staying consistent in that neighborhood. So yeah, 1.1 predominantly new construction spec builds. We still do an occasional rehab here and there. But that we really enjoy the process from start to finish. Just stand in the dirt and say, man, what could this be? What should it be?
Yeah.
Who's going to live here and design a house the way we want to do it, completely spec, but build the model home every time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I remember you mentioning, going back to your direct mail pieces, one time you kind of got I don't want to say nasty response. I mean, if you're doing any sort of direct mail, a lot of people aren't going to be happy with getting a letter in the mail. And then you wrote it was like an 8-page letter, kind of explaining that, hey, you're trying to help. And I mean, I think the way you handled that and just explaining who you are and that you are a person, because I mean, in this business, I mean, if you're gonna market anywhere, I mean, even with your approach, you are gonna make some people upset just for whatever reason, right?
It's inevitable.
They're having a bad day. They get your letter in the mail. They think, especially you're just doing geographic farming, so they're getting your letter regardless of their situation, really.
Yep.
For the most part. But yeah, sometimes you'll get nasty phone calls and. So tell me a little bit about this letter you
Okay,
you wrote.
all right. Yeah, that's actually kind of a good story because it is going to happen at some point in time.
Yeah.
And it was less about the fact that we were mailing and more about the fact that we were tearing down and redeveloping in the neighborhood.
Okay. Yeah.
As it doesn't matter if you're a rehabber or a new construction guy, you're going to get some angry neighbors,
Yep.
right? They're used to one thing, and now gentrification is happening, and it can be frustrating because they're changing the look and the feel of their neighborhoods. And in this situation, it was about subdividing lots.
Okay.
So that was a big part of it. And there were a lot of other builders doing it as well.
Sure.
And it needed to happen really bad in our community. There's just a lack of inventory and no place to put these folks. And the transportation isn't set up for them to move further out. So it's an actual need. So anyway, they were frustrated, and long story short, without reaching out to us, they just slandered our name online.
Oh, that's right. It was an online review.
It was, and ladies had wine night one night, got a little saucy, and all of them just ping, 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 one after the other. And I remember I had my mom in town. I was just reading this. I just saw ping, ping.
Oh my goodness.
Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, oh my gosh. It sinks, your heart just sinks when you read that. Who are these people? First off, like, why are they saying this? Like, destroying my community? And the irony of the whole thing is, I had never met them.
Yeah.
I didn't know who they were.
Sure.
They didn't know who I was. They didn't know the real story. They just heard from one angry neighbor, who ironically lived in a subdivided lot house, same exact scenario as our own.
It was just built 2 years ago.
Exactly. It didn't matter. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So yeah, I created. I just wrote down exactly how I felt. I mean, in a kind way.
Sure.
Here's who we are. I can't believe that folks would go out of their way without making a human-to-human contact and write things, nasty grams about somebody else who just try to make money to feed their family and grow a business, a small business, and be the local builder, the local leader, trying to be a part of a community.
Providing jobs for the community.
All of the above,
Yeah.
without even as much as reaching out and saying, hey, I don't agree with this, or I don't like it, or I don't understand why. And a really unique thing happened. That obviously was a long letter. Like I said, it was eight pages, and I sent it out to thousands of people.
It probably took 3 stamps.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, we had to weigh them. Oh man, we were licking, sticking, stuffing, stamping all day long. And honestly, a lot of people called off that and said, "Thank you so much for sending it. I didn't know you went through that, and I just want to just apologize for everybody that did that to you. I really love what you're building. Thank you." And that rarely happens. Rarely happens. You know, to take the effort to say something nice for some weird reason, it's just harder to do, or a lot of people don't do it. But if something makes you angry, boy, you're going to find out quickly. And we ended up buying probably four or five properties off that mail piece.
That's
and that
incredible.
I wasn't trying to, obviously.
No, you were just protecting your name and really a letter from the heart. I mean, I encourage too anybody watching or listening to this, think about that when you're marketing. Like you said, the grandmother. I like that analogy. Like you're writing a letter to your grandmother. You know, when I keep in touch too with my database, a lot of times I do a letter of the heart and just you know, hey, here's some things going on, you know, personally, and people appreciate that.
Totally. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. I mean, if you're in real estate, obviously the folks that are selling a property that'll be a discounted property where we need to buy it, listen, this is not going to be a millennial, right? I mean, it's not going to be somebody really young unless they inherited it, of course. So your approach needs to be right for that individual, for that seller, and that's just where I see the incongruency. I mean, a lot of the folks that I buy from are widowed, you know, ladies. They, unfortunately, are just a little bit lost. They're overwhelmed. They might not know what to do. And I need to sit down with them and make sure they're okay and they understand everything, and that I truly am a resource for them. And my letter is sincere, and they appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. So what's some advice you could give somebody brand new? Maybe they've never done a deal, or maybe they're in your situation, they did a deal, and maybe at the end of the day they even lost money, right? And they're like, I just wasted 6 months, a year of my life, and now I'm in a deeper hole than I was before. What advice would you give them to either turn the tide, or what? Maybe somebody's never done a deal.
Sure. I mean, I think it's just like anything else in life, right? Like practice makes perfect. You're not going to step up to the plate in that first cut. You're just going to hit it over the fence, right? If you do, hey, that might have been luck. You close your eyes and swing as hard as you can. You may or may not hit it. That's not really consistent success. I mean, that's just luck. In our business, you got to take the hacks, right? You got to go through the minor leagues to get to the majors. You know, I'm practicing every day. You know, hey, just because you're practicing bunts and just hitting singles, well, I'm creating consistency, and then I can kind of step up to that next level, and the next level, and the next level. But it's just like anything in life. It's going to the gym. It's not going in and being a weekend warrior and all of a sudden I'm buff. No, it's consistency with going to the gym that breeds results. Business is the same way. I am a very big, heavy proponent of that, just staying the course. Learning along the way, not duplicating bad habits. So I would say the number one piece of advice is keep educating yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, keep growing, not only as a person, but an entrepreneur. It doesn't have to be directly related to your field. It could just be in between here. Mindset.
Absolutely.
And constantly just expanding yourself, networking like we're doing, meeting folks, and just learning from them. And then, wow, I can implement this little piece, then that little strategy, and having a success journal.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many people have a success journal, right? What's working? Oh, there's a concept. Well, I don't want to forget it. Let's write it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's write it down.
Yeah, or even in an objection book too. You should have, hey, I
Certainly.
encountered this. How do I overcome?
Yep.
So yeah, a success book. I also think a failure book, and how did you overcome that, and so you can move past it on the next one too.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're here at an event that you guys put on called the absolute best master retreat ever.
Tab retreat.
Tab retreat.
Tab retreat. The absolute best.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome. How can people learn more about that?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, you can go to the website, just tabretreat.com. It has a lot of information on there. It'll have information on when the upcoming one is, where the current event is going to be. And it's not just real estate. I want to get that across. There's so much in our business that, again, is in between here. And once you get your mindset correct, a lot of times it doesn't matter what industry you're in, but you can kind of, you kind of hit that platform and you go running. And that's sort of what we've done here. We brought in speakers and industry leaders that can really help us redirect our flow of energy and excitement and really morph it to however you need. So that's what we've done. We've got a blend of different professions here. Have a gentleman that's going to teach you how to write a book if you want to write a book.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty neat. I'd like to know that.
Yeah.
A lot of what they talk about is finding your voice, who you are. Well, that can also translate into my direct mail. Okay, so that's what we try to do here. Plus we're at a luxury resort, right? Wherever we are. I mean, you're going to be 80% board shorts, right, and 20% boardroom. So we're flipping the script.
Yeah.
Because the success that we've seen through the years of doing all these crazy masterminds is really these little breakout sessions, these little mini one-on-ones. Now imagine doing it with a cocktail in hand, right? I mean, that's really where the fun happens, and you're going to make much deeper connections with people.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys really put on something great here. Again, visit tabretreat.com. Right?
There you go.
Yeah. To learn more about that. Currently, I don't know when you're going to be listening or viewing this, but you're doing it twice a year, and at some point, maybe that'll change. I don't know, but
yep. I mean, predominantly in Cancun, but we are going to bounce around to some other locations, which obviously on our end is a logistical, little nightmare, so to speak. But we're willing to do it because we just see the value of it, and we've got so much feedback. There's nothing out here like this. I mean, nothing else exists like it. So we're sort of reinventing that process.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason why you've been successful in your business. You've always been focused on how do I provide value to others, which is obviously very apparent. So
it's a goal in life, right?
Yeah.
Provide value to others, and it'll come back to you in different ways.
Absolutely. So what's the best way for people to get in contact with you?
Yeah, right now it's social media. I said the most activity that we have, whether it be my personal company in Charlotte or just my personal brand and the future of my direct mail system that I'm going to create, I would say online on Facebook or Instagram. Find me on there. Anthony Moore. Just friend me, check me out. Yeah, I would love to connect with anybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Anthony,
Absolutely.
the Professor Moore.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.
See ya.